See if we're coming through.
Oh, there it is. It's up.
Yep, it's looking pretty good at this end. I'll just go and shut my office door and then we can proceed.
I love it when you talk dirty.
1080 at 60 frames, so we're going for the maximum. We've maxed out the quality.
God, can PlayStation handle that? Are they in the head offices right now thinking, wow, what a mad lad.
It's coming through not too bad. Anyway, too late now, can't change it, so we've got to push on. I'll be back in a tick.
It's alright, I'll provide the music for it tonight. I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain. I was just singing Trev. Just nothing big, just a little bit of Enrique, just keep people in the mood, for a very sexy Rose.
For the finale. Are we getting the... I think we're nearly ready to go, aren't we?
Oh yeah, I think we're ready to go, I reckon.
Ready to rock and roll?
Oh, I mean, only if there's a sausage roll involved, to be honest. I'm a bit of a fat cunt.
Oh, how good are we going? Alright, let's get ready to rumble, hey? Let's get ready to rumble. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and action. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for one final time in this SRL season. Hello everybody and welcome to round 10 and the final round of this championship. Who will take the final race of the season? Will it be DRC Jared, our champion, or will it be somebody else? Will it be Wilco with his new helmet? Will it be BK or anybody else? Can Crumpkin perform a miracle? Who knows? But hello, everybody. Wherever you're watching, like I said, right around the world, we are at Abu Dhabi here in the UAE Yas Marina circuit. 10th, or coming up to its 10th anniversary since it's since it first hosted a Formula One race. BK says, can it be BK, please? James Barton, Jimmy saying a Red Bull podium, 1-2 finish. And that would make the man alongside me in the commentary box very, very happy indeed as I welcome the great man, the Chicken Fuhrer, back for one final time this season. Rob Dog, 1996. Good evening to you, my sexy friend.
Very sexy of you indeed there, Trev. And it's... I don't like this circuit, to be honest. It's not a good circuit to watch. It's a fun circuit to drive, from my point of view. But you got to really watch it. The first sector's pretty interesting. Very, very quick, very flat out right-hander into a very bumpy zone there. But the rest is pretty, as my friend Terry would say, quite sanitised. But yeah, we might be in for a surprise tonight. Hopefully those bulls get up there and provide a little bit of magic. I've got to say, Bradley did a great job last week getting that car up into third position due to penalties. Unfortunately, that's gone back to the stewards, and the penalties have been cut from 10 seconds to 3 seconds. So he actually drops down to fourth from last week's race. But I've got to say, he drove a fantastic race there, Trev.
Terrific race last week, and hopefully we're going to get another one here in the season finale. Kane has said hi, smiley face. DRC Jared saying Inters are the optimal quali tyre, and yes, I think we've got a comedian. We've got a comedian here. Who could forget? Who could forget? Was it Full Metal Jacket? Remember with what do we got here? A fucking comedian, Private Joker. Do you like that name, scumbag? No, just kidding. But speaking of Jared, he has wrapped up the championship, 155 points to BK's 113. And he's wrapped up second place in the championship, I believe. What is he, 26 points ahead of Car Dude? Then Wilco on 81 points in fourth. Big Dick Johnson down there in fifth. And the rest of them probably aren't important enough to talk about. But let's talk strategy, though. Having said that, the tyre compounds. Most will opt for soft tyres in this qualifying session. Tyres tend to overheat in the last sector of the flying lap. So if drivers are smart, Rob, they'll do a slow out lap to cool off the tyres just that little bit.
Yeah, that'd be the smart option to go for, though there might be a couple of guys out there who would be willing to put on mediums. around here, especially with the higher temperatures. They might be actually one of the best bets to go for, especially not having to do a slow lap to keep those softs alive. And I mean, those softs will probably die off within the last sector anyway, so the times might actually be pretty close. And if you could start on the mediums around here, you might actually have the advantage, considering that you'd only have to do maybe a one-stop strategy if you go into the hards. And not a lot of the guys that's been with us during this season have been able to make those hards work. They're not an easy tire to drive on, but be certainly the quickest way of getting around here. But that does remain to be seen, as I don't want to make Wilco's notes irrelevant for our qualifying session here. But I reckon there might be one or two guys out there who would be willing to gamble tonight.
As we take a look at one of the Ferraris of Thule out on track, just getting a bit of dust off this circuit, just being a bit of a track sweeper here tonight. 18-minute qualifying session, you know the drill, and a 50% race following this qualifying session. And Wilco has got the weather report. Surprise, surprise. We've had a bit of Abu Dhabi weather here where I am in Victoria, at least. 39, 42 degrees, I think it was at one point. Very windy and dusty. And Jason has reliably informed us. He said dry quali and a dry race. Surprise, surprise, here in the middle of the desert. F1 Rocks 96 goes, how are you guys doing? You doing good? I'm good. I know you're good too, Rob. BK saying, I'm shocked. That's the weather report, Jace. Alan Hugo says, I'm about to something or other over Jared's Inter's lap. Big hello to Alan. I haven't seen him on the live streams so far this season. And I've got to think back to your comment a little bit earlier on the live stream tonight, Rob. I can remember Kimi Räikkönen, typical Kimi Räikkönen style, when they first came here, I think back in 09, I think it was. And they said, what do you think of the track, Kimi? And he said, the first half's all right, but the last half shit. And that was pretty much sums up what you said a moment ago. Very sweeping corners, the first sort of half, the first couple of sectors of this lap. But Kimi reckons the last half, absolutely shit.
Yeah, it's not very interesting, to be honest. I mean, they had, triple right-hander. That's actually quite a difficult corner to get going. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a boring track, to be honest. The first sector, though, is quite fun to watch. And it's actually a good little overtaking sector as well. But I've got to say, like Murrayisms, there's quite a lot of Kimi-isms out there. And I like the one where they asked him about what's the significance of your helmet paint scheme. And he just goes, it protects my head. And that's it. Like, I love Kimi.
Yeah, absolutely magnificent stuff. One of many. They are a bit like the Murrayisms, aren't they? Very famous, and it'll be a shame if he retires at the end of next year. I think he's got a 2-year deal there with the Alpha, and hopefully we can see him in 2021. But he's in his 40s now, Kimi, so he might be looking to just retire and live the high life. But 14 and a half minutes left in this session now. We've got 3 drivers on the mediums, 7 on the soft tyres. As we look at Thule now coming through, he might be on a hot lap here, I reckon, Rob, in the last part of the lap. We've been riding on board with him so far throughout the course of this session. Jazzy-looking helmet style, but we'll get to the other Ferrari driver's helmet style in a moment as he comes across the line to set the first provisional pole time of 1:37.262. And just looking at the expected pole time, Rob, we're expecting a low to mid 1:35. So Thule a little bit off so far, but the track's still yet to rubber in later in this session.
I mean, the weather report didn't account for any terrorist activities around the circuit, so you don't know what might happen. But gee, that might have been a little bit too racist, to be honest. It's every country we go to, Trev, the general rule is we have to be a little bit racist about them. You know, Japan, America. I mean, it's only right we be a little bit racist in Saudi Arabia, and Wilco going to the top there with a 35.8. That might be good enough to put him in 5th at the end of this quali session. But yeah, it could be clouded with the chance of bombs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we've done it already. What are we, 6 minutes into qualifying? But just stay tuned, there could be some worse stuff to come. 14 people watching the stream. Alan Hugo, who is all up and about on about our man DRC Jared. But speaking of Wilco's time, BK has set a 1:35.4, so these times are starting to tumble now. As we've got a tick over a dozen minutes left in this session. Big Dick Johnson, our man, 1:36.2. Then it's Thule and Daniel Sun and DRC Jared all over the track as you'd expect. as our resident comedian, Private Joker there, just losing the rear end. But V8 man, what can he do with his very Italian-looking helmet scheme now as we ride on board with him? Interesting strategy call this, Rob. If you were out there tonight in this race, being the racer that you are, would you elect to go for the mediums or the soft tyres? What would you choose if you had the choice here tonight?
I mean, certainly I'd actually really consider the mediums. I had some good luck keeping the hards alive during the season, so I don't see that as Compact gets 5 pace grip penalty with DRC Jared, so that's a little bit of interesting news there. But yeah, I think it's worth taking the risk. You can go longer in the races. It's quite a warm circuit. Honestly, look, you're going to be quick, a bit slower on the first 5 laps, but you know those tyres will hang in there, especially with the temperatures around here. I mean, it's almost a smart way to go. But you know, it's just it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. How big a gap will the pole man get? You know, off the first 5 laps, could it be 10 seconds away? You just never know. It's always a big question over everybody's head. But one thing's for sure, there's plenty of oil around here.
Certainly is, as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3 as we see Wilco come into the pits. Big Dick Johnson also into the pits. Tooley is on a hot lap. It might be an in-lap though. He's a couple of seconds off his time. Danielson into the pits as well. Bradley doing the same. Let's have a look. DRC Jared there. What's he done? A 145, 146. So he might crack 2.5 minutes here if he does well around the last part of this lap. We're getting a few boys. Alan Ronan, go BK, says Big Ronan. And New Zealand Ryan has been good enough to join us. All the Xbox One guys getting up and about, so good to have your company. Fuming BK, he said Jared ruined his lap, and he comes across the line 2 minutes 11, so good stuff as we take a look at somebody on a real lap. V8 man now on the medium tyres, coming through the last couple of corners. Last sector I should say, last couple of corners of this second sector, approaching the last part of the lap. And it's a tricky little section under the motel here, isn't it, Rob? It's very, very hard to get right. And as we see V8 man there just going wide, almost touching that wall. BK saying, can anyone match a 2:11? Well, they already have. Half a dozen or so already have, as this is a very scruffy end to the lap. And it's only good enough for a 140.7, and he's not going to be a happy chappy with that lap. He'll be looking to do better than that, Roberto.
Yeah, he'll be looking to do better than that. I'm actually just watching the lap with Compact at the moment. Compact is on a flyer with his soft tyres on. He's just about to come into the third sector near to the hotel. I'm just going to watch this for a second. Coming into the triple right-hander, a little bit too wide there, but he's going to get it stopped really nicely into the corner. Gee, that car's really nice on the front end, really pointy. Into the 90-degree section. I actually don't mind this little bit of the circuit myself. You can get the power on there and actually go out really wide, and he hasn't done that there, so he's lost a little bit of time. And as he comes up to the penultimate corner, so the last corner, a little bit of a cut there, as much as you can take, and he goes up to the third. Great lap from Compact.
Great lap there, 36 flat, .023, good enough for a second row provisionally on the starting grid as the sun goes down here in Abu Dhabi. Beautiful sunset as Tooley comes back out onto the track now. We'll keep flicking through these times. V8 man there, a couple of seconds off in that sector. And Bradley, the man there donning the Ayrton Senna helmet. And you guys, have been a bit of musical chairs at Red Bull, hasn't it, Rob? Brad, when you haven't been to the commentary box, Brad's taken your place. And we've called it, we've seen on the comments actually, calling for a Red Bull 1-2, but we'll wait and see what happens there. And now Jared sliding around the circuit, coming into the pits there, and Crumpkin and Honest Crook both at the bottom of the timing sheets, but we might just ride on board with Honest Crook here in the Haas for a little while, the number 79, and certainly a tricky track, and always one that catches drivers out with corner cutting as well. And I'm assuming once again tonight, Rob, it's going to be similar with strict corner cutting on. Difficult for those drivers to get through the race without copping any penalties.
Oh, yes, certainly. Unfortunately, it's actually quite easy to get a corner cut penalty here because this circuit is so flat. It's almost as flat as my arse, I've got to say. And as you can see there, Crookie just getting a little bit wide there. I don't know if he's going to pick up any penalty for that, but gee, he's looking like he's on the limit. But yeah, his car's not that pointy at the front with those soft tyres. So yeah, we might be seeing him suffering a little bit of understeer. As I say, that he goes in a third. So good lap from Honest Crook. That last sector was a little bit scruffy, but a great lap from him nonetheless.
And, well, he did look a little bit scruffy there towards the latter part of that lap, but it was good enough. It understeered all the way up to a 1:35.948 and third on the grid. Now, for the race, we've already talked strategy here a little bit tonight, but I've got to say, two-stop race. Strategy 1, soft, medium to the soft at the end, or strategy 2, medium, medium soft if the drivers qualify on the mediums and get into the top 10. Tyre wear very high, and the tyres can drop 2 to 3 seconds off after 5 or so laps compared to a new set. And we've also got to keep an eye out, Roberto, for the drivers utilising the full ERS modes, modes 4 and 5 on the straights, and then running 0 or 1 in the last sector to get that battery charged up.
Yeah, I mean, just on board with Bradley at the moment. He's just started his flying lap into the second sector there now, into the hairpin, looking for the straight there. And you can see he's already on the maximum ERS setting. And the good thing about the ERS setting, is that if you lower it, it actually kind of acts like a bit of traction control. It's not all that power coming out at once. As Wilco goes for a 34.9, that's a great lap from him. Purple on all the sectors. That's a brilliant lap from him. But you can see that Bradley's already on the maximum ERS setting, because he doesn't have to really worry about getting as much traction. He just wants that straight line speed at the moment. But as soon as he gets into the twisty bits coming up here, this is a little fun part of the circuit actually as well. I actually don't mind this part of the circuit. Maybe I do like the circuit, I don't really fucking know. But you can see Bradley there just having a look. He's got the still maximum at the moment, so he might be calling me a bit of a lie here, but he's just trying to get as much energy out of that car as he can, but he'll lower it eventually and use that as a bit of traction control in the traction zone, so he can get that little bit of extra push with the car. And it's quite a good strategy. It works really well with the Red Bull, to be honest. That's what I did in Germany with this car, is I just played around with the settings until I found the ultimate one for the whole lap. And it works a treat. As you can see that Bradley goes in the 5th, so the Red Bulls are showing some serious pace tonight.
Certainly are, and well, amongst all of that, Wilco, I think, like you mentioned, Rob, a 1:34.943, so we're expecting low to mid 1:35s, and Wilco's just gone and shat all over that with a 1:34.9. Danielson into the pits, V8 man, DRC Jarrett on the hard tyres as Crumpkin comes out to have another go. Wilco in his cool down lap. Who's on a hot lap here?
BK's on a lap here. BK's on a lap.
BK on a lap, so we might stick with this. Boy, where has this qualifying session gone? As Alan Hugo says, Mitchie is trash and we need you for commentary on the Xbox. Well, that's nice of him to say that you're needed on the Xbox, Rob. That is good stuff. Well, that's if you can afford him. He comes with a hefty price tag. That's for sure. We won't. Is it after 9 o'clock? No, we'll let you know what that price tag is. Maybe a little bit later, Alan. But thank you for your comments. That's too kind. It's always good to get positive comments, Rob, rather than negative ones, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no cheap hussy, I'll be honest. I deserve good pay for what I do. A little bit of a reach around. Wait, no, that's my nighttime job, fuck. But, yeah, I mean, there's just looking through the list here, Trevor, and there's nobody really on a lap. Tooley might be on a lap here. Tooley's on a lap here, coming up to the second sector. And, wow, he is looking pretty good at the moment. That car's really pointy. He's just a little bit of an early turn in there. Had to really get out of it to get the car around properly. But, yeah, I mean, he might pull out of this lap, quickly jump into the pits, put on some new tyres and come back out. But we'll see. I'll see where this goes and keep everybody updated. But I don't see anybody beating Wilco's time tonight. I mean, if DRC Jared stopped dicking about, he probably would. But, you know, yeah, I mean, Wilco's got some serious pace tonight.
He certainly does. Only man in the 134s, like we mentioned. What do we got? We've got 8 drivers in the pits, 3 on an out lap. Crumpkin now, I think, might be the only guy on a hot lap, so we'll stick with that. Can't see anyone. Got to agree with you there. Can't see anyone in the 134s, I should say, unless Private Joker gets a set of soft tyres on and just stops being the resident comedian. But Ryan, New Zealand Ryan, oh, excuse me. And DRC Jarrett saying, why not both? Just having a bit of a conversation there. Wilco saying BK will do a 1:34, so he's got to fight about half a second or so, Rob, if he's going to get into the 1:34s. Tyre compounds, have we mentioned about tyre compounds? The softs, 8 to 10 laps, mediums, 12 to 14, hards, 5 to 17, but of course 2 seconds slower than the other compounds. meaning that nobody will want to run hards, but you never know. We could see some mixed-up strategies. And as Wilco reckons, Jared would do a 1:33. But the international man of mystery then on the hard tyres, still in the pit lane, less than 2 minutes to go. Where on earth has this qualifying session gone, Rob? Just a tick over 2 minutes to go. We've got we've got drivers. It's a funny old session, isn't it? Everyone's leaving their runs to the last minute at the moment.
I mean, that's a smart thing to do. The track will be the most rubbered up at that point, and just like the session, just like Operation Desert Storm, you can't really see jack shit. We'll see where this section has gone. But yeah, Tooley's on this quick lap now, so he's on the out lap earlier. He's on a fast lap now, and this man is on a charge.
Certainly is. Jared on hards, like we mentioned, but Honest Crook there, getting in Sector 2. What's his time going to be as he comes up towards the end of this second sector? I think he's slowing down there, so we'll keep flicking through the order. Compact coming up to a hot lap. Tooley, 0.2 of a second quicker there as he's come to the end of Sector 2 now. Time for Sector 3. He's run a little bit wide, and that's going to really compromise his entry onto this last couple of corners there. But he comes through the last couple of corners now. What can he do? Currently 7th on the grid. Can he get up there with his teammate in the other Ferrari?
He's got no ERS. Oh, he's absolutely bolted. What a dickhead. But no, that's actually a good lap. He ran out of the ERS just within the last couple of corners there, and that extra 120 horsepower that gives you really does make the difference. So, you know what, 7th, it's not the end of the world, but you know, if you're going to qualify 7th, you should probably be on the medium, so it's going to make his life a little bit harder than it needs to be. But just going through here, and Compact is now on a lap as well. Big Dick Jono has slowed down towards the end of his out lap to try and give those tyres a little bit of a respite before he absolutely rapes them through the corners. That's the wrong word to use. And our man Bradley is coming up to the first corner on his last flying lap.
Here we go then. So, we've just got seconds remaining here. We've still got a couple of drivers on their out lap. Wilco's made it across the line to start his lap, so we'll probably try and do this in order. Riding on board with BK, the man that Wilco said could get into the 134s, maybe even the 133s. That's a little bit ambitious though. As riding on board now, qualifying officially over then, so the drivers just completing their hot laps in the final couple of minutes of this session now, as BK in the Renault. He's looking good. He was a couple of tenths up in Sector 2, and now he's coming through the last couple of corners. I don't know about you, Rob, but I reckon this is going to be a good lap. He comes across the line. It's pole position, P1, and that will give Wilco and the Ferrari team something to think about. As speaking of Wilco now, I think he's our next man in line. Can he improve? He was 11 thousandths of a second up in Sector 2. Sector 2, 1/10 up now, Rob. It's going to be so close. So what can he do? It's Ferrari versus Renault. Then we've got two Red Bulls locking out that second row of the grid. Both of those drivers
goes to the third.
135. Crook goes into third position, like you mentioned, Rob, with a 135.5. And he'll be
Bradley's being blocked here by DRC Jared.
And a bit of controversy there, as we'll just stick with that for a little bit longer. Brad up to third place, at least on my timing screen now. But out of the last corner, our man Wilco. Can he get pole position back? I reckon he's got it. I just saw a 134.5, and he has! The new helmet's done the job. Oh boy, what a performance there. He was, it was so close throughout to the final few sectors of the final couple of corners in that lap, but he's got the job done. And it's pole position, P1 for Ferrari, Forza Ferrari, P1, grazie ragazzi. It's P1 for our man Wilco. BK there having to settle for second best, but look at that, 0.071. And oh, so close. Bradley there in P3. Could have been some blocking on that last lap. Honest Crook in fourth. Compact in fifth. Big Dick Johnson, the first of the two McLarens, there in sixth. DRC Jared in seventh there. Eighth for Tooley. Danielson, the wax on, wax off on the mediums in P9. V8 man running out your top 10. And Crumpkin doing what Crumpkin does best down there in P11 as DRC Jared says, brah. Brad starting a lap on faster tyres, up my arse. Oh, yeah. And Davo, who's been good enough to join us again for another week, says, suck shit, BK. Davo, I thought you were in the fan club, says BK. But obviously he was living a lie. But as we get ready to go racing around this Yas Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi, the final race of this season and the final race of the real-life F1 season, of course, next week. But don't forget to join us. We've got something on this channel which we'll be announcing soon, unless Wilco's gone and announced something without my knowledge, Rob. But, you know, he's just not like that, is he?
No, but he is like that.
Yes, he can be a little bit sneaky, but BK...
He's a bit of a sneaky slut, isn't he?
He is. I've just thought about that the party chat name as well when I joined it just before. But here we go. We're counting down. And Kai Malapan says, what's the tea? What's the tea? You're going to have to elaborate, dear. But thank you for joining us here tonight. And look at that, the fog. Or is that fog or is that the sun haze? Let's have a look here as we get underway on our formation lap. Let's get a little bit of heads-up display happening here. Position changes off the start. That's what we like to see, don't we? We like to see the winners and the losers off the starting line. Big hello to you, though, Kai Malapan. I'm not sure if I know you or not. Please leave a comment and let me know how we know each other. But Alan Hugo says, this will be good because Jared on the hards and everyone else on the softs. This will be good. And I'm sure you will be right there, Alan Hugo. Thanks for joining us. You too, Davo, BK, everybody on the live stream. And what can we expect to see here from this season finale tonight, Rob? Who's your money on? I know you're not a betting man, but who's your money on?
Jeepers. Look, DRC Jared's taking the piss right now, so look, smart money is on him, but you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody out there with maybe a shotgun or two aiming towards him. Of course, he hasn't gone missing yet from Singapore. But it is a great possibility that he might be taken tonight. Be that his life or kidnapped, I don't really know. BK's in a good shot here. Our pole man Wilco. I don't think there's been many people to start on pole and lose at this circuit. Bradley as well. I'd love to see my Red Bull up there, driven by another man like the dirty little girl she is. Honest Crook. He's you know what? He's pretty bloody quick. He's pretty good, eh? And Big Dick Jono, our man BDJ, he'll be looking to round out this year with at least a podium at least. Of course, he was celebrating his birthday last week, getting absolutely pissed without us, the absolute flog. But yeah, it'd be good to see him do something. But smart money's on DRC Jared because he just likes to take the puss.
He certainly does. And New Zealand Ryan is joining us for this race. How good is that? As we see the drivers now lining up on the starting grid, riding on board with BK, who will be right up Wilco's backside heading into turn one. He's got a great view down there to turn one. But speaking of turn one, we better get ready for this race to get underway. 11 drivers, 28 laps around this Yas Marina circuit. It's the season finale of SRL, and we are almost ready to go racing now. Here we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's go!
Wilco gets Paul start off the line. BK's up the inside of him. BK's passed. Honest Crook on the inside of Bradley. Bradley is moving to the defend. Honest Crook goes into Bradley. Bradley goes a little bit wide. Bradley is into third. Wilco is in the first second. Now he's back in the second. BK's doing a great job there of defending, but Bradley's all over the gearbox. That Ferrari is looking like a humdinger of the race already.
That's all right. I'll go home, Rob. That's magnificent stuff. Magnificent start to this race. But look at this, lap 1 out of 28. And we said BK had a bird's eye view leading down into turn 1 as we ride on board now with Wilco, the man in second place. Too early, of course, for the DRS to be enabled, but Wilco down the inside. Is he going to get the job done? Oh, the little
Wilco's going to take the long line around. He's going to get the acceleration zone here. BK is going to have a big weight trail behind him. That Ferrari is incredibly quick in a straight line. I don't think Wilco's going for a very high downforce setup here. You see he's right beside him. Wilco's going to get the first here.
And Wilco side by side with the Renault. Thank you, Alan. I've worked on that Murray Walker impression all night just for you. Jared is last, or at least he was last, but he's inside the top 10.
Jared's got front wing end plate damage there, so he's going to have to come in for a pit stop. I'd like to see him try and fucking drive around there.
Unbelievable stuff. Even for him, the great man can't get, he's not that good. He can't get that job done as we ride on board now with Bradley Marshall and Tooley. What a hectic start to this race. Thanks everybody for joining us here for the season finale. Round 10 of this SRL Championship. Brad getting awfully close. 2 out of the 4 untouchables getting awfully close there as BK comes across the line with a 143.564. I'm moister than an oyster at the moment, Roberto, because this is a super fantastic race. And Brad, he wouldn't want to get too close to Wilco, would he? Another one of the untouchables. Did I say that before? Yes, I did, because he might just be off of Wilco's Christmas card list if he goes up the back of that Ferrari.
Oh, come on, Wilco. Wilco has a job in a warehouse. I don't think he actually knows how to write Christmas cards, so I think it'll be okay. But Big Dick Jono, you see him in the background there lurking behind Bradley. He's here to take up the sloppy seconds. So I reckon he'll be in with a chance. And actually, he's getting quite a great time off of Bradley there. I don't think Bradley's got a low downforce set up here. He's a little bit slower in the straight lines, but that car is an absolute rocket ship around the corners. And Wilco is on the back of BK again. He's looking to make a move. He's not that far away from making one, maybe within a half a lap or so. So BK is going to have mirrors full of Ferrari, and there's a yellow flag in sector 2. I'm trying to go through here. Don't know who that exactly was. But DRC Jared is coming for a pit stop, I'm sure. And I'm pretty sure he's replaced his front wing as he has. So he is a pit stop down. Of course, he'll have all that pace, and I'm pretty sure he's on medium tyres at the moment. But yeah, he's got some work to do.
Certainly does. He's lost 5 positions off the line. Honest Crook as well has lost positions off the start. V8 Man and Danielson have been pretty good. 3 places each for them off the line, so they've done quite well. Lap 2 out of 28 here. And while you were talking, Rob, Big Dick Johnson has gone ahead of the man on your screen, Bradley Marshall. And I can tell you exactly what tyres the great man DRC Jared is on. He's on the medium tyres there, Alan. Alan Hugo, big hello to you. Thanks for watching. He's on the medium tyres, and Roberto, I've got to say, even for DRC Jared, it's going to be a titanic task from the back with so long to go in this race.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be a big task, and actually, just going through the list here, and my old teammate, great mate, Compact, is missing a front wing off the front of his Red Bull, and we all know the Red Bull is a bit of an aero car. Unfortunately, he's missing a front wing, and he's missed the pit lane, so he's going to be in a world of bother for this lap indeed. But Crumpkin, he's gone up 2 positions, so good job from him, even though the other 2 have probably had a coming together or some sort of issue. Honest Crook down 4 positions. That's not a great start from him, and with their 3 laps gone there. V8 Man up 2 positions. Tooley hasn't moved at all, and actually Tooley has V8 Man all over his gearbox, so he's got something to look forward to a little bit later.
BK is around. I was just going to say there, Wilco managed to get through in the middle part of this lap, and then BK going for a rather ambitious move approaching underneath the motel. They're not really traditionally a passing opportunity, but a bit like Lewis Hamilton there at the Brazilian Grand Prix last Sunday. He saw a gap, and if you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver, as the great Ayrton Senna used to say. But let's just recap. Let's take a breath and recap the opening few laps of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it's that man on your screen, our man, your man.
Oh, Big G's around, Big G's around. Oh, Big Dick Jono to go.
Oh, Jesus, it's all happening here.
Pandemonium.
And it's, I tell you what, it was BK who went off there, and did he make contact with Big Dick Johnson? And we saw a Red Bull, and now Big Dick Johnson, as he got damage out of that, Rob, what happened there?
From what I saw there, BK went around, and Big Dick Jono had to take avoiding action onto the blue painted stuff, and his car got pretty airborne, and it went sideways. And unfortunately, I do believe Bradley went into a wall as well. Yes, he's got front wing end plate damaged. So he's going to have a bit of a task ahead of him after this. But yeah, it was just a bit of a racing incident. Unfortunately, BK went around and nobody else had anywhere else to go, so they had to make a racing line for themselves. And unfortunately, it all got a little bit too chaotic for everybody else there. But BK doesn't look like he suffered any damage. He's probably struggling with tyres at the moment. But Danielson is the big winner out of that one. He's up 6th place. He's only 5.6 seconds behind Wilco. Howman Wilco, one of the Untouchables. So, you know what, he's in with a shout now, and that man's pretty bloody quick. Dare I say, actually I do believe he's on medium tyres, so Wilco will be having to really think about managing his tyres now, thinking, hey, maybe I could push these tyres an extra lap, 2 laps, 3 laps, try and get that little advantage on Danielson, because Danielson doesn't really have to worry about that tyre management part anymore.
Certainly doesn't. He's on those mediums then, as Bradley Marshall into the pits in the Red Bull there, donning the Ayrton Senna helmet. He's a great hero, of course, as he comes into the pits. New front wing, new set of tyres. One of the McLarens there, that's got to be Big Dick Johnson, I reckon, who's into the pits as well. Yes, indeed it is. The birthday boy from last week, as we see Bradley Marshall come back out onto the track.
The man practically just did the same thing as Big Dick Johnson. Luckily he didn't get all the way sideways, but yeah, that's looking like a little bit of a tricky zone for the boys tonight.
It certainly is. No doubt about that. So I don't think we saw any jump starts off the line. We did get a heads up to keep an eye out for that in the race notes, of course. But lap 5 out of 28 as well. We've got a special guest here now. Alan Shep has been good enough to join us like he does each and every week. If he's not down there at Sinbad's or the Beach Hut Brewery in Scoresby, Victoria with the gang. And he's got a little bit of a joke here for us. He says, "What do the Flintstones say? Abu Dhabi do." And my goodness me, that is just champagne comedy, Rob, from the great man Alan Shep.
I think I have a growth in my brain. I don't know what it is. I think it might be tumour.
And who can forget when we... it's another tumour, come on, stop you idiot. But who can forget when we, I think we called up Shep a couple of weeks ago when the servers were down. And yeah, that was a great response. But big hello, thanks for joining us. We've got 2 Allens. I guess 2 Allens don't make a right, do they? Alan Hugo and Alan Shep there on the live stream. I'd love to know the last time we had 2 Allens joining us on the live stream. But lap 6 out of 28. I think your job's pretty safe, Shep. That was an absolutely shithouse attempt at humour from yours truly. But V8 man now, BK into the pits. And is he coming into the pits or coming out of the pits? Yep, he's coming out of the pits on the medium tyres. So a little bit, are you surprised, Rob, that we haven't seen any of the guys who have come in at this stage go onto the hard tyres and try and make it to the end of this race?
I mean, this is the part of the race you'd expect them to be on the harder tyre, considering that this is the hottest part of the race. You know, it's going into the nighttime conditions, so that's when it starts to cool down a little bit, and that's when you really want to be on the mediums or the softs. So this is really interesting at the moment, going for the softer tyres now when it's a lot hotter, and risking a lot of graining and that sort of thing. Tyre management, heat management as well. Whereas you can just go for the straightforward answer. Obviously, these boys know a lot what they're doing a lot more than we do. But I've got to say, all these sort of accidents and front wing end plates disappearing off the cars, it's made it a little bit interesting, because our man Wilco is 7.8 seconds ahead of Danielson. Danielson doesn't have to worry about the guy behind too much, because they're about, let's say, 8 seconds behind them. So Wilco's got about an 18-second gap from him to third. So this is really interesting, considering that Wilco now has the opportunity to conserve and get those tyres a little bit further into the race. I think Wilco might be the good one to have a bet on right now.
Yes, we might have a little cheeky flutter on Wilco 19. As
Tooley's round.
Oh, Tooley has had an incident as DRC Jared picks up a warning. Oh!
And he's in the DRC Jared, oh my lord!
Well, my goodness, we just sort of caught that incident live, didn't we, as Tooley. I've got to say, I didn't, we were riding on board with Tooley for that particular incident. Just looked like he just tried to come back onto the track at the wrong time, Rob. Yeah,
I don't know what's happening there. That was, I don't exactly know what to say about that. Might be a steward's review into that. Although between you and I, Trevor, I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think that's an announcement for later on. But yeah, that's a bit of a tricky one to judge.
Certainly is. We'll leave it up to the stewards. Like you said, I reckon we'll all be heading to the airport, heading out of the country, and we probably won't be seen again. But let's just recap now. As a big hello to Grinner, big shout out to Danny. As Big Shep says, 2 Allens are better than 1. No doubt about that. So let's just recap here. We've got Wilco in the lead, still on those soft tyres. Then lap 7 out of 28. Danielson 8.7 seconds behind him. And like you said, Rob, sitting pretty up there, isn't he? He's 12 seconds ahead of Honest Crook in third.
He's in the pits.
On those medium tyres. And Wilco now in the pits. Take it away, Rob, as the Ferrari mechanics come out.
Yeah, very interesting strategy there. So you can see Wilco's going on to the medium tyres now and he's out already. So that's a quick pit stop from the Ferrari gang. And he'll probably slide into probably third here, just behind us, Honest Crook. So, yeah, watch out for Wilco. And, of course, DRC Jared's actually pit stop down now. So he's going to have to make up time on the circuit, certainly. But he has to still make a pit stop. And I do believe BK... who else? Bradley as well, V8 man, Big Dick, Jono, Tooley have all got a pit stop to make, but I do believe that Wilco will be pretty comfortable towards the end of the race on these tyres if he can make them stretch that long. Danielson is up into first position there, 7 places up. Wilco slots in a second, so actually it's about a 9-second pit go sort of thing here. Not too sure what I'm saying at the moment, but I know what I'm saying. Wilco is looking very, very good though, and I've got to say he's a very pretty man indeed, and he can also do the hippity hops.
Yep, I know exactly where you're coming from, Rob. I speak fluent Rob Dog 1996, and as you know, oh my goodness, front row seats to this little battle if you don't mind. Brad says, get out of the way, I'm coming through, and have a look at this, BK in the Renault, and Bradley, and DRC Jared's going to get a little piece of this action.
DRC Jared's around the outside.
Oh, he's going to take them both.
Bradley's got a little bit deep. DRC Jared saw the opportunity there. Bradley's going to be a little bit slower here. He's going to go on the inside. DRC Jared on the inside. Bradley going a little bit wide, really wide. He's going to pick up a little bit of a time penalty there, no doubt. Bradley defending on the inside. He doesn't have enough pace. He's going to have to outbrake him. DRC Jared getting a little bit hustled there from our man Bradley in the Red Bull. Of course, that Red Bull's seen a lot of contact in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, Bradley doing a great job there in defensive driving. Great stuff from him.
Great stuff indeed. Like you said, those mechanics have been kept busy, especially after the Spa weekend, after the summer break. But anyway, we're in lap 9 out of 28.
BK on the inside of DRC Jared.
Oh, and there's a slight bit of contact there. DRC Jared is pushed wide in the Alfa Romeo, but the Renault is through. But I reckon he'll have a fair crack at him there. DRC Jared getting it all wrong there. Coming through the first couple of corners, but he's going to be...
DRC Jared's got wing damage.
Oh, do you have damage, DRC Jared? Yes, he does. We've got 17 people watching, 18 people watching the live stream. How unbelievable is this? Where else would you rather be on a Thursday night as DRC Jared with plenty of ERS, but he's a fair way off, isn't he? I reckon the action's a bit further up as
BK's gone past.
Renault versus Red Bull. No love lost between those two, of course. Who could... Oh, Bradley. Well, he was just going to put a nose on the inside there, but BK is through, and now DRC Jared, who's got DRS and plenty of ERS as well, and plenty of talent if you don't mind. He was going to have a go there, but Bradley also having the benefit of DRS, and you can just see, can't you? It doesn't take too much to misjudge your braking distances, does it, Rob? When you've got that DRS open and you're chasing another car so close.
Oh, I mean, you've got to really hammer those brakes when those that DRS is open, because it gives you about 15, maybe 20 kilometres an hour advantage over your opponents. You're still probably doing about 330 kilometres an hour, so yeah, you've got to absolutely smack those brakes about, just like Chris Brown and I'm not going to say that joke either, but as you can see there, Bradley's actually finding his car a little bit oversteery, but yeah, he's keeping DRC Jared behind him a lot. 78% his ERS is at. DRC Jared 45%, so DRC Jared doesn't have a lot of ERS to play around with, and you can see him just going wide there as well. But Bradley's doing a brilliant job though, Trev. He's doing an absolute great job keeping DRC Jared probably the best guy we've had on this game so far. And BK, ultra quick dude with his reach and his grasp. So, you know what, Bradley's doing a great job here considering this is his second league race back. And we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. I'm trying to find that on my camera as well, and that's actually disappeared. But yeah, Bradley's done a fantastic job. And Bradley, oh my God, it's on for young and old here. Bradley's looking down the inside, and just a little bit too much going for that Renault there. Bradley getting a really good exit though. DRC Jared on the outside there, down into 5th. So yeah, this is looking quite tasty indeed.
Unbelievable here. Thank you to everybody.
Oh, my Lord, compact! Oh, my God!
Well, what is going on here? Compact there between Brad between Brad and DRC Jared. The lap car there down outside the top 10, I should say. I can barely speak tonight. How about giving English a go, kid buyers? And it's unlike a Red Bull car to hold up somebody on the lead lap, something very unusual this season. Anyway, we'll leave it there. But Big Shep says, having a few frothies and go Wilco, and now DRC Jared dives off into the pits. But how good was that battle? Alan saying, geez, this is great. And Butler saying, go BK. I'll get you, Butler. And how good was that? 3rd, 4th and 5th all together as the Alfa Romeo guys are out in the pit lane now. And what tyres are we going to see here? Knowing Jared, no, he hasn't put a set of intermediates on. You could see the eyes, couldn't you, there?
Wilco's about to make a pass, actually. Sorry there, Trev. Wilco's making a pass, and Danielson there. Wilco's passed with the DRS open, so Wilco's going to have a great run here into the next series of straights and corners. And I'm starting to really get my Murrayisms down packed. Pity I can't do the impression, but yeah, Wilco's back in the first place.
Wilco back into first place. He said he was making a move. Well, he has made that move now. We're on lap 11 out of 28 here in the season finale. We've almost cracked 20 people watching the stream. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hello to you, and subscribe, like, do all that sort of stuff that YouTubers want you to do. As a V8 man, the man from Brisbane in Victoria, in Queensland. Jesus, I tell you what, maybe it's the half a dozen VBs, the Victoria bitters I had that's making me slur my words. But he gets a 3-second penalty for his troubles as Wilco comes under the motel there and through the last part of the lap. And boy, oh boy, Rob, he's pulling out. He's not pulling out in real life, I guess, but less than, well, he's nearly 2 seconds in the lead there as Danielson dives off into the pit lane.
Yeah, that's a smart move from Danielson, getting past on that lap, knowing that he doesn't have to tyre life, and now probably going to put on the hard tyres, I do believe, as he has, and go straight for the end, so he doesn't need to make a stop anymore, so he knows that if Wilco comes in for a stop, he's going to be ahead, and he might be able to defend from that position, so it might be a little bit harder, because they might be a little bit warm, but yeah, I think that's actually quite a smart move from Danielson there as BK slots in the second and Bradley slots in the third. They're all back into their original positions but a lot less closer. But yeah, I've got to say this is really turning it on for young and old. And I've got to say, I mean, Wilco must be very good at pulling out because he's had no scares so far. So we're not really professional analysts on that sort of subject there, Trev.
No, certainly not. He's doing a lot better than we are, that's for sure. But lap 12 out of 28, and an interesting fact here, as Bradley right up behind that Renault. This is personal, you can tell. DRC Jared, we know he's our champion. We know BK's going to finish second in the championship, but it's our man Wilco out front, currently 6 points behind Kart Dude in the Drivers' Championship. And without the Taswegian here, it's looking like Wilco, all he has to do is finish, what, 6th, 7th or higher, or 6th or higher to get that place in the championship. But my arithmetic, which is always suspect, could very well be wrong. But anyway, he's in the right position at the moment, and hopefully he can stay there. As don't forget, don't be shy, get your comments coming in on the live stream. As Mitchie950 says in response to Alan Hugo from earlier, he is trash. Gifted SRL Xbox Season 4 champion. But anyway, good stuff, boys. Doing great. A little bit salty there, but thank you, Mitchie950. Alan, all the Allens, all the Butlers. And Grinner as well. part of that crew down there. We are approaching half the race distance. Let's just recap. It's our man Wilco there on the medium tyres, as they all are actually, as Tooley has retired from the race. We didn't see what happened there, Rob, but he just couldn't recover, could he, after that incident a little bit earlier on in the race?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. He had some great pace in that car, especially on the harder compounds as well, as DRC Jared is no longer taking the piss. He's done a 38, but he's got a lot of work to make up. Honest Crook looking very racing behind our man Big Dick Jono. Hopefully Crookie can get something on the go. He will definitely get DRS. So will Big Dick Jono off his back of Danielson. So this is a three-way fight, and Bradley around the outside of BK. BK saying no and closing that door. Bradley now has the DRS open, coming up to the series of chicanes. Bradley on the inside, and he's gotten past. Will BK have a go? And BK actually made a little bit of contact there on the outside, so a little bit of mischief happening at the front of the field there. But Bradley comfortably through, and he'll be looking forward to getting that car into some clear air and putting in some lap times.
Certainly will be, and while that little spicy battle was going, Danielson and Big Dick Johnson having a battle of their own, and Big Dick Johnson is up into 4th position, as there's some blue flags there. I wonder what that's for, but anyway, in the meantime, DRC Jared set the quickest lap of the race as well, so he's up to 7th place. As speak of the devil, DRC Jared gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Lap 14 out of 28. Half the race gone and half still to go, as Compact now Compact is retired from the session. Your man in the Red Bull, Christian Horner, will not be happy with that at all, as I'm sure there'll be some stern words in the Red Bull motorhome, as Rafa has joined us here this evening. As my goodness me, look at that, Danielson. I reckon he's going to size up Big Dick Johnson here. But Rafa, you've just joined us in time, man. Hello, man. Great to have your company, man. And Rafa, wow, it's awesome, man. Thanks for joining us for the last race of the season. As my God, look at this. How awesome is this? Danielson in the Mercedes, and my goodness me, he's run short of battery here, Rob, because he's not making any inroads at all, is he? But there was a Haas there, Honest Crook. Where did he come from? My goodness me, if I could actually just be the race director a little bit better here. Honest Crook just coming from nowhere. Daylight robbery or nighttime robbery, whichever way you want to look at it, Rob.
Yeah, more Haas than class, but gotta say it was actually quite smart from Crookie there. He just stayed in the slipstream a little bit, turned his ERS down a little bit too to conserve it. And he turned it back up at the right time, and Danielson has a lot of conservation to go for now. He's got 5%, and he's on the second quickest setting, and it's just not going to work out like that. I'm sorry, Sonny Jim, but Honest Crook, he's looking very quick at the moment. But Big Dick Jono, he's conserving his ERS. He's thinking about when the attack's going to come. He knows that they're going to try and do it around the corners, not on the straight, so he's going to be able to defend a lot easier and save up that ERS for when the time does come indeed. And now Bradley, our man Bradley in the Red Bull, he's in the pit lane and he has to do a front wing change, but he's gone into the medium, so this man will be quick towards the end of the race, but unfortunately he's had to change that front wing, so that gives Big Dick Jono 3rd. He's up 2 spots from his starting position. And I wonder what happened there between he and BK, if there was any contact or if it was just a driving mistake. But our man Wilco, very boring race for this man. That's the way you want to have it. Boring and straightforward. And let's just say that he hasn't had to do much fighting apart from the first 2 laps. So this man is looking as good as gold.
And speaking good as gold, it's the black and gold car there of Honest Crook, who's made the move past Big Dick Johnson, but the outside has turned in to the inside. The hunted has become the hunter, and Big Dick Johnson is back through again, up into P3. Big Dick Johnson, do you like being in P3?
Yeah, right. Oh, fucking yeah, mate. Yeah, no, Winnie Blues and all that shit, mate.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Great team radio there with Big Dick Johnson. Unprecedented access inside the McLaren team as Big Dick Johnson laps 16 out of 28. But he's not impartial to a penalty or two, is he? And it's one of those tracks that's a real bitch for corner cutting. It's a corner cutter's paradise. As here we go then, a dozen. I can't count, can I? A dozen or so laps left here. Very boring race at the front, but look at this. It's third, fourth and fifth all together. Big Dick Johnson doing what he does best. The big Queenslander ahead of Honest Crook, who'll be coming back for another bite of the cherry. Danielson and Bradley, who's on the medium tyres. Fresh sets of mediums, look. And he's got Ayrton Senna's helmet, and it's going to take a little bit of Ayrton Senna magic, I reckon, to get that job done in the final few laps of this race. Much love, says Rafa. Hey, man, great to have your company, man. As Grinner says, where did the American special comments come from? Or is that Mr. Andretti? Andretti. It could be Mr. Andretti. And as we take a look now at Haas, here we go. Oh, yes. Big Dick Johnson.
Great move there. Just gave enough room so when he swung out he didn't hit Big Dick Jono. And Big Dick Jono is probably having a couple of durries in a helmet. Of course, that should be illegal in the FIA rules, but apparently it's not. But he's going to get the DRS off of Honest Crook here. He's going to slot in behind and have a look on the inside there. Honest Crook will be conserving energy. Big Dick Jono doesn't have to worry about it. Crookie gets into the side of Big Dick Jono. Is it the other way around? Big Dick Jono. Jono hits Crook.
And now and Danielson is going to benefit from that one. I wonder if they've
got front wing damage now, and I'm going to have a look at Honest Crook there, and I think he might have escaped that. Big Dick Jono definitely has front wing damage.
Shock horror, says Rafa, but that is not what you want as Honest Crook there getting a little bit out of shape and coming into the final part of the lap, but I can't seem to see any damage on that Haas. Yeah, he's still got all four wheels and tyres and end plates and front and back wings attached. Is he going to come into the pits now? No, he's continuing on. So I don't think there was any contact with necessarily the more fragile parts of the car. But as we see BK now coming into the pits and out again. And is Honest Crook going to get him here out of the pit lane, Rob? This is going to be interesting. No, BK's got him.
I do believe, well, Danielson certainly slotted out in front of him. So Danielson's holding second position Ranson there. And Wilco's 34 seconds up the road, so that's not going to really worry him too much. He can come in for a pair of softs if you really want to do, and take the pus pro like DLC Jared A. And BK is looking very, very good too. He's just coming for a pit stop, as you said there, Trev. Honest Crook on line lap. Oh, medium tyres. This could be a very deciding moment if he pits or he doesn't. And Bradley on tyres that are 2 laps old. He's sitting pretty to pick up that position from Honest Crook, and hopefully he can get some pace and pass BK or get up there with him and give him a good old fight. They're only 4 seconds apart, 5 seconds apart, so this is going to look really, really good. But Big Dick Jono is the big loser here, and he's decided to continue on with a broken front wing in plate. And I mean, let's be honest, his tyres have done fuck all laps, so you know this might be a good decision. But yeah, I feel sorry for the big fella.
Yes, he will not be happy with that. As we've got some requests coming in. Grinner, he says, do we have any comments from Jackie Stewart? We might just go to Jackie Stewart. Jackie, what do you think of tonight's race?
Well, you know, I think it's great. I mean, in my day, you'd go off and lose the back end and you'd end up in you'd end up in a fucking tree with a nun.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Look at fucking BK over there. Fucking idiot.
Thank you, Greta. Great to have. Thank you to Jackie. You know, you'd end up in a tree like that. You know, one minute you're on the track, next minute you're up in a tree somewhere with a nun standing over you or a priest giving you the last rites. Thank you, Jackie. As Rafa, keep it together, Rob. As Rafa says prayers. Brody, thanks for joining us, Brody. Better late than never. He says, let's go, BK. And Greta said, well done, boys. That was awesome. Big Shep says, can we please have a Bruce McAvaney special and delicious? Thank you very much for that, Trev. It's fantastic, Shep.
to have your company, enjoying it down there, I'm sure, in Scoresby, Victoria tonight, and I'm sure you'll be taking a few women home, no doubt about that. As Rafa says live, surely Toto's here for today's race. Toto, what do you reckon of things?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's the last race of the season. You need to focus and, you need to have that Austrian, way of doing things.
And that's fantastic, Toto. Not sure where that was going, but Brody says, I stand by my statement. BK is so underrated. We should really rate him more. Well, that's interesting. He's in P2. I reckon we rate him pretty highly. But anyway, Grinner saying, well done. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Thank you to Jarky and Toto and all the rest of the gang, and Bruce as well. He's got to be doing something outside of footy season. As Crumpkin, we haven't called his name too many times. They're having a bit of an incident there, Rob, but he's in the points nevertheless.
Yeah, he's in the points very comfortably, unless he had DNFs, and I actually do believe he still gets points if he does that. So he's in the points, but I've got to say, Jackie Stewart kind of sounds like a cross between a friendly ogre that has layers and also Fat Bastard who also has layers.
And there's plenty of layers. Speaking of layers, it's all unravelling here tonight. But I'll tell you something. Let's get back to this man, the man coming into tonight who Facebook messaged us with thousands upon thousands of pictures of that striking purple chrome helmet glistening under the Arabic lights here tonight. I better be careful. I don't want to offend anyone. But what? I tell you, I don't know whether purple's well, I think purple's the colour of death, is it not, in Italy? I could be wrong.
I don't know. I think crude oil is the colour of death in Saudi Arabia. But let's not talk about that.
But we might leave it there. I heard a story about Simtech, of course. Anyway, the purple colours.
Yeah, actually, no, you're correct.
Roland Ratzenberger, of course, that incident many years ago.
They went through a few drivers. So Roland Ratzenberger wasn't the only one that had a big crash in the Simtech. I do believe that Jeff Brabham had quite a big accident in the Simtech as well, and it almost took away his career. And unfortunately, that man probably deserved a better career in Formula 1 than he did, because he got that car into places where it should never have been. I do believe he finished one race in 8th position. Fortunately, back in those days, only the top 6 got points. But yeah, I mean, Simtech's one of those teams you kind of wish they had a lot more luck, sort of like Marussia or Lotus before they became Caterham, sort of that plucky team that was trying to do the best of what they had, and they had some great results, but at the end of the day, they sank, and unfortunately the drivers that drove for them also had their careers pretty much cut short. And unfortunately, in the untimely case of Roland Ratzenberger, it happened to him. But let's not forget that Roland Ratzenberger did win the Bathurst 1000 before it was taken away from him and gifted to Peter Brock.
Yes, interesting stat there. As lap 20 out of 28. We love a good bit of history in Formula 1, of course. That's just what we do. We're both F1 crazed F1 fans from way back, and still am with that fact. 28 laps to go now, riding on board with Wilco, who's still getting the job done there. 16 seconds behind him is that man BK, Danielson and Bradley. As I flick on board now with Danielson, still getting very close indeed. Danielson, of course, the big beneficiary between that contact earlier we saw with, I think it was Honest Crook, Big Dick Johnson and Danielson, but Bradley up to P3 there, so good stuff for him. Danielson on the hard tyres, of course. Big Dick Johnson losing that front wing end plate, and DRC Jared, I'm just looking at the timing screens here, we've got 7 laps to go, and DRC Jared is just 4 and a bit seconds behind him, Rob, so still he's not out of a shot for 5th place yet, DRC Jared.
Yeah, he's not out of the. I don't know. I mean, what happens if we've got a safety car right now? This would put DRC Jared in a pretty good position, considering his tyres are 6 laps old. Everybody's on about the 3, 4, 5 or 6 lap old medium, so he's actually looking pretty good in terms of tyre life at the moment. But I mean, Danielson as well, he could duck in for a quick pit stop, put on those softs and be super duper quick towards the end of the race. But that's if we got a safety car. Unfortunately, I don't think those good gods are shining down on us today. And I mean Wilco, I think, is walking away with this one. He literally do a DRC Jared and fucking come in for a pit stop and put the softs on and put a fastest lap in. Although I did see earlier that our man Wilco did put a fastest lap in of a 1:37.984, so that is absolutely blistering quick. I must say the man who is actually quickest to him at the moment is DRC Jared with a 1:38.477. So yeah, Wilco's on charge.
He certainly is indeed as we approach the final half a dozen or so laps of this race. There's a few gaps through the field, but I guess we're probably looking at the closest battle, 2 and a bit seconds there. Like we said, DRC Jared is closing in on Big Dick Johnson. Honest Crook about a second or so behind DRC Jared on the soft tyres. DRC Jared on the hards as well. V8 man down there in 8th and Crumpkin in 9th, who is 1 lap down. We've lost Compact and Thule, Red Bull and Ferrari. 11 drivers started the race. 9 are left. We've got half a dozen laps left in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. 6 laps left in the season. As Grenner says, can you do an Alan Jones impersonation? Well, I don't know whether... Do you want to take this one, Rob? It's not... Well, I guess it's not an easy one. It's just the dinky-die sort of no-nonsense sort of Aussie kind of accent, isn't it? I remember him and Big Darryl each like, oh... AJ, what did you think of that? And Alan Jones would be like, well, I just hope we get a little bit of rain to spice things up. And who could forget that story when he won the Austrian Grand Prix, was it in 1977 in the Shadow?
Yeah, they didn't ever think that another Australian would win a Grand Prix ever again, so they played Happy Birthday on a trumpet played by a drunk Austrian man.
And if you go on the Kid Buyers channel, I've actually got that on, I think from about 1997, I think, to about 2001. He would mention that every time the Austrian Grand Prix was on, and goes, oh, I didn't really care what they played. Some drunk guy got up and played it on a trumpet. But he didn't care, of course, because I'll take the win. But that's an awful Alan Jones impression. But full respect to you, AJ, out there, 1980 F1 World Champion, the last Australian champion, of course. Hopefully Daniel Ricciardo was the next big hope. Mark Webber missed out in 2010 in Korea. That's where it went arse up. Anyway, less said about that, the better. And then it was all the Vettel show after that. But lap 23 out of 28, you can see I've gotten over it, can't you, Rob? As we take a look now.
I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed off because he went to World Endurance Championship with the sports cars, and within his first or second season there, he won the championship. You know, he's a world-class driver, and it just gives a lot of people more leeway to say, you know, maybe he was actually shafted by Red Bull there. Considering like Multi-21 in 2013, yeah, I mean... Unfortunately, we never got to see Mark Webber absolutely bollock Sebastian Vettel, but as he said in his book, I don't hit boys, so, you know, I do love that man though. I love his Instagram's so good.
Yes, and I'm not too sure whether I'm right in saying this, but I think he might have seen out the last half a dozen or so races in 2010 with was it a dislocated or a broken shoulder or something, which I don't think he told the team.
Yeah, no, it was 2009. He went for a cycling event in Tasmania, and he got hit by a car, and I think he had something like a broken leg, but luckily it was during the summer break, so he had enough time to heal it, and majority of the time he was walking around with a bit of pain. It actually makes sense now. Watching that season back, and especially his win in Brazil, last race of the season, he got up on the podium and he just looked a little bit sore every time he took a step. It just makes a lot more sense now. That man is hard as nails indeed.
Certainly is, as Jared now and Big Dick Johnson going toe-to-toe here, but I reckon it's going to be like taking candy from a baby. Oh, Big Dick Johnson not having any of it, and he's just come back at DRC Jared.
DRC Jared really giving him a go now. Big Dick Johnson's not going to have any of that, I can assure you. Big Dick Johnson.
How good is that?
Raped him.
Oh, yes. Yes, please, can we have some more of this? I tell you what, I'd written him off there with his front. He said, never mind about that. I've lost no front wing end plate, no problem. Unbelievable stuff. He was like a dog with a bone, Rob. He was not giving up that place, and he stays in P5. Unbelievable.
Well, you know what you say about that Big Dick Johnny. You take away his fucking cigarettes, he turns into a bit of an animal, and he's getting passed by DRC Jared now, but fucking I did a good job fucking keeping him behind with a broken wing, eh?
He certainly did, and that was magnificent stuff. I didn't see that one coming, but fair play to him. That was absolutely magnificent stuff, and DRC Jared up into 5th place. But having said that, I reckon we're going to see Big Dick Johnson with the benefit of DRS, plenty of ERS as well. And is he going to have another go at him here? We'll ride on board with this. And he's a fair way back, 8th gear, 330 kilometres an hour. No, I reckon DRC Jaron has got that job done. But boy, he made him work for it, didn't he? He made him go the long way round, and that was absolutely magnificent, wasn't it? Thank you, Bruce.
It's actually on here. It's on here.
Yeah, I reckon it is.
DRC Joe goes really defensive. Big Dick John on the inside with the fake. Oh my lord, Big Dick John on contact, oh!
Oh, yes, and Rob, it's not late enough to make those sorts of noises, but lap 25 out of 28, and that was magnificent stuff, and he's going to fall back into the clutches of his teammate, is he? No, he's a fair way off B8 man there, but what a battle. He was not giving an inch, and as Martin Brundle would say, Rob Dog, no quarter given. Unbelievable stuff there, and that's what we love about Big Dick Johnson. As Big Shep says, rubbing is racing. Talk to the hand.
I'll be back. Talk to the hand, you son of a bitch. You know, the problem is that he was not giving up the position, you know.
And fantastic stuff there. Thank you, Arnie. Another bad impression, but how good was that? Giving us some action in the final few laps, Rob.
Yeah, that was, I think, on a bit down, to be honest, but far out. I don't know what to say. Honestly, all I can hear is fat bastard in my head now, just going, I want my baby back, Reeves.
That was great. A lot better than the Jackie Stewart impression back in
Jackie
my day.
has layers. Augers have layers.
We got stay up late swapping manly stories, and in the morning I'm making waffles. But yes, yeah, how good was that? And I think I like the first 7 Shrek movies, but I'm not so sure about the last 13. But anyway, great stuff. As Big Dick Johnson, I'm sure I'm going to have to go through those movies at some point in the future. But V8, man, it's the Wiggles at the moment. But anyway, enough about my personal life. That sounded a bit weird, didn't it? Crumpkin down there in 9th will keep to the action on track. Talk to the hand. That's right, Shep. But we'll be talking to this man, our man, Wilco, in a couple of laps' time, because barring a miracle, a disconnection, something else happening, a Russian submarine, Harold Holt style, I can't see this man not winning this Grand Prix. That's what I'm trying to say, Rob.
Yes, he looks very, very comfortable. I'm going to say another man that looks comfortable is BK. He's done a fantastic job. Another man from South Australia in the great place of Port Pirie. Right on the coast there, beautiful little coastal area, Port Pirie. And I've got to say, he's doing a very, very good job. Yes, I might have accidentally stalked his Facebook. No, that's not weird. I'm from South Australia. I do what I want. Don't even back-chat me. I will put your body in a barrel. But, yeah, BK is doing a fantastic job. Also is Bradley. Bradley really having to had a bit of a battle in this race. He had a battle with BK, and everybody else around him in the early stages of this race had to replace his front wing, and he's still caught his way back up at the 3rd position. So this man is doing incredible things in my fucking car.
He certainly is. He's I'm just wondering whether you've signed for 2020 yet, Rob. We'll wait and see. You might be in a bit of a Nico Hulkenberg style situation, as Alan Hugo, who's been joining us throughout the course of the evening, says entertaining but poor driving from Big Dick Johnson. Oh, not a very popular one, Alan. We're big fans of BDJ up here. Brody says, can I see BK? Yes, you can. He's on the screen at the moment. Alan says that crash was always coming with aggression and desperation like that. But come on, surely you like it. We like seeing that sort of stuff. But I understand where you're coming from, Alan. And thanks for joining us. Alan Shep, the other Alan in this live chat comments. Big Shep says, go, Wilco, go. Let's hear it. Go hard or go home at Sports Zone. That was an advert for a sports company, I think, many, many years ago. But let's recap here on the penultimate lap here in Abu Dhabi, here at the Yas Marina circuit. and bodies in the barrel. He is not even kidding. It really happened over there in South Australia. You cross the border and things just get a little weird down there. What was the name of that town, Rob?
Good old Snowtown. Actually, interesting fact, the first bodies were actually found in Murray Bridge where I live. In fact, I live about 500 of a kilometre, 1 kilometre away from the house they were found in. I've been in that house and it's a little bit creepy.
Yep, you were, what were you, 2 or 3 back? How old were you back then? You were
I mean, when was the last time I could hold a knife? Well, the first time I could hold a knife is when I started chopping up bodies, and I've got to be honest, I do fantasise a lot about it a lot now, and I just wish I could go back to cutting up people.
And speaking of cut up people, Alan was not happy about that battle as DRC Jared goes up into 4th place there, getting the job done ahead of Daniel Sun. I think that was always on the cards. Good recovery there for DRC Jared, who spent 13 laps on these hard tyres. But here we go then. This man, Forza Ferrari, P1. Grazie ragazzi, Forza Ferrari, Forza Wilco. And the perfect way to finish this season for Wilco. And he'll take 3rd in the championship tonight if he can just get the final few corners, the final few kilometres of this race and of this season done here tonight. He came in with a new helmet design and it seems to be working wonders. He's dominated this race from start to finish. And don't forget to get your comments in for Driver of the Day. And it can't be Max Verstappen, but look at the crowd there. They're on their feet to bring this man home here tonight. Official RA Gamer says, bring it home, Wilco. And I reckon we'll be seeing that in the not-too-distant future. Alan saying Roscoe. As here we come then, final part of this lap, final part of the race, final part of the season. Just half a dozen or so corners separate Jason Wilkinson from taking victory here in Abu Dhabi. Let's bring it home for Wilco. Second last corner. Into the last corner.
He's just done a fantastic job tonight. As you can see, he's decided to smoke it up on the finish line. It'd be funny if he fucking binned it right now, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be. Jared, we've seen Jared take the piss this year, and now it's Wilco's turn. He crosses the line, and he wins for Ferrari. BK then comes across the line to take second. The fireworks here in Abu Dhabi go off, and what a good result there for BK. Maybe not the ultimate goal, but he finishes in P2 nonetheless, and Bradley comes across the line in P3. And absolutely unbelievable. Shep's happy. Alan, Forza Ferrari, Forza Le Ferrari, as Jared comes across the line. Bang! Minus a wheel, but he still gets the job done anyway. Daniel Sun across the line. Good result for him, but he'll get knocked down to P6 with Onostrel going up into P5. V8 man a long, long way down the field. And have a look at this. Team orders here at McLaren. The race is not over for the McLarens. And P1 Sebastian, P1. I love you guys. I love you guys. Yes! Yes!
Sounds like the night my child was conceived, to be honest.
Oh, yes, but how good is that? As the bit of team orders there, bit of multi-21 if you don't mind. And V8 man getting ahead of Big Dick Johnson, minus that front wing end plate. Crumpkin finished the race a while ago, but V8 man coming across the line, P7 and P8 for the McLaren cars. And official RA Gamer, Forza Ferrari, Forza Ferrari. BK saying, finally Wilco getting the job done. DRC Jared says, what a joke. And Wilco saying, Jono had to pick up his misses. Interesting. Rafa says, Tatey Reese. Yeah, man. How good's that? As we take a look at the podium, it's Wilco in P1. Alongside him, BK and Bradley Marshall. Ayrton Senna. Senna sempre. Senna mucho. And, yep, sorry to all the Brazilians out there, but now it's time for the champagne
Do like good champagne showers myself, Trev. I'm quite partial to the old champagne showers, and I've got to say, Wilco's looking a little bit, I wouldn't say woggy, but it's certainly Italian there.
He certainly does. And perfect fit those red overalls. He does look a bit, looks like he hasn't eaten enough green vegetables. But anyway, there you go, the final results on your screen.
He hasn't had enough onions.
Or is it red meat? He looks a bit anemic, but I'm sure the pizza will be flowing tonight. Jason Wilkinson wins this race. BK, a very unhappy second, but he started second and he finished second. How about that? Bradley Marshall in third. Holler for a Marshall. DRC Jarrett in fourth. Pretty pissed off, eh? Honest Crook in P5. Danielson in P6. V8 Man and Big Dick Johnson. We saw that swap happening on the final lap. Crumpkin started 11th, finished inside the points. Good for him. And Compact and Thule, Red Bull and Ferrari. We lost those guys, but DRC Jared win every race without even trying, so got to take me out 4 times so I don't win. Very humble there, DRC Jared. We love that, don't we? Every driver getting a penalty except for Wilco. I believe there, if I'm not, unless I'm very much mistaken. And BK saying, yes, Brody, get around it, bruz. And Grinner saying he was born in Carlton. We are the Navy Blues, and we're waiting for the podium finishers. And Shep says, well done, Wilco, you bloody beauty. And you've got to say that was a terrific performance, wasn't it? I don't think we've seen that since Cyril Rioli in the 2008 AFL Grand Final. Fantastic stuff. But I think we're waiting for the top 3 finishers. My goodness me, I'm shitting on. And no surprises.
Hang on. Whoa. Wilco's Pornhub live stream has just gone off the chat. Somebody's donated to his chat there, so he has to do some terrible fellatio act on a rubber phallus. But Wilco, our man Wilco, considering he's the first one to join, our man in first position, he finally got that win. Our third different winner, I do believe, in this league, or since I've been really caring about it. But Wilco, that was pretty simple. After those first 5 laps, it was just a bit of a boring race. But gee, that champagne must taste so sweet.
Who was that to? Was that me? I wasn't on the
Yes,
mic.
you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Wilco, don't you fucking listen, man.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. Did you invite BK? But yeah, it was a boring as fuck race. I don't know how Jared does it every week. That was boring as shit. I'm sweaty, and yeah. That's it.
Okay,
Fun
well...
times.
Wilco, P1...
Yeah, fucking won! Yes! There we go. What you wanted?
Yeah. P1 Sebastian,
Yes.
P1. Well done. This is Matteo Benitio, or whatever his name is. But I've got to say, is there a table booked, Wilco, down at the pizzeria there in wherever you live down there in Melbourne? Because that was a boring race. You probably could have ducked off with a few laps left there, but mate, very uneventful race actually. Still P1 Sebastian, you'll take that.
Numero uno, ciao bella, numero uno. Yeah, no, it was, I said boring as shit. Bring on Project Cars. We're real drivers, real game, real setups, all the above.
Alright, as Jason's being a little bit salty about this video game, we're going to Bradley. Our man Bradley driving my Red Bull. Whoa. We're in charge here. Our man Bradley in driving my Red Bull there. Of course, he had to pick pieces of Harry Ryan out of it. But Bradley, that was an interesting race for you, mate. Losing a front wing end player, having to come in to replace it, and still finishing third, and a whole bunch of great battles, especially between you and BK there for a long time. It must have been a very exciting race for you, mate.
Firstly, I have a team radio, and then I'll answer your questions. Okay, boys?
Right. Okay, and that also sounds like the night my child was conceived.
Yeah, so it was quite the eventful race for me. Unfortunately, it all went a bit to shit when coming up through the first 2 corners, basically. BK was spun on the middle of the road. Jono collected him, and then I had to avoid Jono, but just couldn't avoid him enough. Had to make an early pit stop, and then had a pretty intense battle with BK for majority of like that middle stint there. Got a bit sideways in the third sector, knocked off my front wing completely, so that kind of set me back. And yeah, so it was a pretty boring race after that second stop because I lost all the time on BK there. It would have been a bit closer of a battle if I didn't lose the front wing there, but I was in fear of losing a podium again with Jared passing Danielson, but I managed to just pip him by a 10th and get to keep this podium. Thank fuck.
Well, good stuff, Bradley. A magnificent drive tonight in Rob's old set of wheels. But congratulations, mate, and all the best for wherever we'll be next week. Hold for announcements, Roberto. But we'll move along to, I forget where he finished in second, didn't he? BK, are you there?
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
Awesome, mate. Good result to end the season, mate. Talk us through your race tonight.
Just off the start, I was able to pit Wilco, and I was able to hold him off for a bit, and then I actually got a time penalty, actually trying to avoid him because I outbroke him at a corner, and then my tyres were fucked then, and that's when I spun. Made the decision to try and get a bit of an undercut going, to try and make up some of the time that I lost, and then in that middle stint, just had that battle with Brad, and I'll tell you now, he battled a lot harder than what Wilco does, that's for sure. That was a rough battle there, and then I was just deciding to sit behind him, try and intimidate him a little bit, and then that's when he made his mistake and went into the wall. So from there, it was sort of just standard day in the office trying to race for second, like I have been all season. So yeah, that was that, and also. Big shout out as well to the BK fan club, the Port Pirie boys. Andy,
oh yeah, fuck yeah, mate. Get into the South Australia fucking lunacy here, mate.
Yeah, Andy, Brody, Ronnie, and Blake. Cheers to you boys for keeping me entertained in the parties in the last couple of weeks because Butler, the dumb cunt, he just doesn't race anymore, and then I've been a bit lonely. So I've been relying on the Pirie boys, the fan club, and they've been helping me push through to the end when the races get fucking boring like they did at the end.
Very good. We've got a man with sports psychology in mind. Very, very nice indeed.
Yep, good result there, BK. Congratulations, mate. Good way to end the season. And if you're feeling lonely, mate, I'm sure there's some entertainment services in South Australia that can help you out with that, mate. But a good way to end the season, and congratulations.
Cheers, mate.
Yep, awesome. Yep, bit of a delay there. South Australia, a little bit more than half an hour behind. No, just joking.
Whoa. You're just upset that we've got fucking legal prostitutes and fucking bodies in a barrel. You're just upset.
I'm going to stay the hell away from Snowtowners. Kane Leishman, Big Kano says, happy that I picked up a couple of points. Good stuff. Grinner says, Jackie Stewart made all the difference back in my day. And Shep saying, Shep, AIDS. What's he saying about AIDS? Oh, put your hearing aids in, Wilco. That's right. and Rafa, yeah, he loved that.
Says the old fossil himself.
Really fossil-line.
And he wishes the servers were still down, that's for sure. But, well, we are just about done here. As Big Shep says hello to Pesca Bakery in Adelaide. Some more friends of Big Shep. And Honest Crook says guaranteed Rafa gave him the setup to win, Davo. I'll replace Butler as BK's new partner. Good stuff. I reckon we're almost out of time here, fellas. But, well, that's the end of the race, end of the season. Final thoughts to wrap up.
End of SRL.
Let me do this bit. You can finish it off, Rob. So next week, P-Cars, 99% sure it's going to be IndyCar Road, like the road version at Indianapolis Road. And then, yeah, a couple social races on Project Cars, and then, yeah, on the brand new Kid... Have we worked out what the name is? Kid Buyers Racing League or Kid Dog Racing League? Good talk. All right, so Rob, finish it up.
We we're leaving SRL. We're doing our own thing. Fuck off.
And just with all the class that we've been we've been come to be known for over the
Good
few.
luck fucking penalising everybody else now.
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah, got it. But thank you everybody for watching us over the course of the season, not just this season, the last 10 or 11 weeks or so of this championship. Like you said, Wilco, stay tuned next week on the Kid Buyers Racing League, or it could be Kid Dog Racing League. We'll get our legal team across that throughout the course of the week. But don't forget, either way, whatever we'll be racing on, wherever we'll be racing, we'll be back here from 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, barring any bushfires, of course. But we will be back next week.
Rob, baby.
I'm gonna kiss away. Rob, can you get that? Can you get that up on the audio?
Hang on.
Get that.
Hey
baby, your balls sweating?
baby.
Yes, yes. How funny was that? But jump on P-Cars next week, says Wilco. But big thank you to everybody joining us. Like I said, not just for this race, but for the entire season. We are done for SRL. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be back with KRL next week. A brand new game, brand new season, and a brand new league. So join us for that. Like I said, it's been great to have your company. Big thank you to everybody. Rob, have you got that song for us to go out with?
Which one? There's so many. There's so many.
We're going to take a bit of
German.
We're going to take a bit of...
Hang on, give me... Wait. Let's just do some dead air. How do you guys feel about a certain nation that has like 3 colours on its flag? A flag, not flag.
All right.
Beautifully.
You can see we've really rehearsed this, can't you?
Tell it's definitely not
right.
scripted, boys.
We're going to leave it there while we're talking about...
God, it's beautiful. God bless Germany. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. There's the real song. It's KRL next week. We'll stop talking about 3-coloured fags. We'll see you next week. It's been great to have your company. Over and out. Be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.
Oh shit. Rob, can you invite Brody and John to the party?